especially of Karen's remarkable voice. She had a timeless voice. Karen Carpenter's last recording session lasted only minutes. She was dying and everyone knew it. After singing, "Now," she whispered something to Richard that made him freeze. The audio sat in vaults for 40 years. Now, new technology has cleaned up that damaged tape. What Karen whispered wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't about music. It was a confession about her final months that her family kept secret. Those words reveal the real reason she collapsed that February morning. The truth is heartbreaking. Karen Carpenter was born on March 2, 1950 in New Haven, Connecticut at Grace New Haven Hospital. Her father, Harold, wasn't just an ordinary working man. He had actually been born in China and gone to boarding schools in England before settling into a job as a printer in the United States. That kind of international background was incredibly rare for a working-class family in 1950s Connecticut. At the time of her birth, Harold and his wife Agnes lived in a modest apartment. Harold worked long hours at a local printing plant just to keep things afloat. And when Karen came into the world, America was deep in the baby boom. Gender roles were rigid. Girls were expected to be dainty, quiet, obedient, but Karen didn't fit the mold. She was different and she knew it early on. A big change came in June 1963 when Karen was 13. The family packed up everything and left the cold New England winters behind. Contrary to what many people think, they didn't move in 1954. When Karen was 4, the actual move to California happened nearly a decade later. Harold couldn't stand the cold anymore, but the bigger reason was music. Richard, Karen's older brother, had a rare gift for piano, and Harold believed that California would give him the best chance. They chose Downey, suburban spot tucked between two major highways, the 5 and the 605. Cross-country moves like that were expensive, risky, and rare in 1963 for families without a lot of money. But Harold got a job at another printing plant and Agnes focused on helping the family settle in. That move changed everything. Without it, Karen's voice might have remained hidden. The magic that followed might never have happened. Back in Connecticut, Karen used to bang on pots and pans just for fun. But it wasn't until she entered Downey High School in 1964 that music became serious. She didn't want to take gym, so she joined the school band. They handed her a glockenspiel. She hated it. Then something changed. She saw a friend named Frankie Chavez playing drums and she couldn't look away. He had been drumming since he was 3 and watching him lit something inside her. She begged for a drum set like her idols Joe Mell and Ringo Starr. Her parents bought her a Ludwig kit in late 1964, and the moment it arrived, she sat behind it and played like she'd been doing it all her life. Within a year, she could play in complex time signatures like 54, just like Take 5 by Dave Brubeck. She practiced every day, took lessons from jazz drummer Bill Douglas, and before long seasoned musicians were shocked at what she could do. But while she was becoming a powerhouse on the drums, Karen was also dealing with something much harder. Since she was a child, she had always been a tomboy. Her mother, Agnes, wanted her to be feminine, graceful, delicate. But Karen liked playing softball with the neighborhood boys. She didn't care about makeup or dresses. She wasn't into drama. She was strong, rough, fun, and didn't feel like changing. That created constant tension at home. When she entered high school in 1964, her look and behavior made her stand out even more. This was the 1960s. People judged. And later on, when Karen became famous, critics kept calling her a tomboy. She had to learn how to look the part of a celebrity with the help of her friend, Brenda. But it never came naturally. Deep down, Karen was still that same girl who loved to hit a ball or slam a snare drum. That inner battle between Who she really was and what the world expected never went away. It stayed with her and slowly became a source of pain. The house the Carpenters bought in Downey after the move became legendary. It was a 5-bedroom home on Newville Avenue. But it wasn't just a house. The family also bought the smaller property next door. And they built a walkway between the two. That second house became their music lab. It was an office, a studio, a rehearsal space, and a hangout spot. In that little compound, Karen and Richard created some of the biggest pop songs of the 1970s. It became so iconic that they featured it on the 1973 album Now and Then. But that same house would later be the place where Karen collapsed from her eating disorder in 1983. After she died, Harold passed away in 1988 and Agnes followed in 1996. Richard sold the house in 1997. So many fans came to visit that the new owners eventually tore down the studio next door. The house that once echoed with music fell silent and an entire era quietly disappeared. Karen's drum journey had started in 1964 when she was 13. She was a year younger than her classmates at Downey High and had joined the band only to dodge gym class. She got the glockenspiel, hated it, but after watching Frankie Chavez play drums like Buddy Rich, she decided to switch. Her parents spent $300 on the drum set, which is around $3,000 today. Within just 12 months she could do rhythms most drummers never even attempt. She wasn't just good, she was special. She practiced obsessively, learned traditional and match grip techniques, and took the instrument as seriously as any pro. In 1965, when she was just 15, Karen formed the Dick Carpenter Trio with her brother Richard and their college friend Wes Jacobs. They didn't just play at school events, they performed jazz at real clubs. They even played at Disneyland. Richard would watch her behind the drums and say she looked like she had been born in a drum factory.